Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Wednesday, October the 26th. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Seeing versus looking for, part 3 with Walmal. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. Walmal, after we got done with the video, we continued the conversation on our own, so we need to include the boys and girls and non-binary traders and bring them up to speed.
Yeah, it's the thing. We started getting into it, but we really didn't finish it. That's for sure, because we just started to talk about it. But there's a difference between looking and seeing, and I think I even came up with a definition for everybody out there yesterday. And but the thing is, you can't have one without the other in terms of trading anyway. And I think even in terms of life, you need to have both. You can be out there looking and seeing, and I look at looking as you're seeing the entire grand picture of everything. And seeing is where you're actually seeing the thing, whatever you're observing, actually develop and happen. And one example I think I gave yesterday was with the Grand Canyon. You can sit there and you can look out on the Grand Canyon, the vastness and the beauty of it all, of all that creation, but then you don't see individual things that are actually happening down there. Imagine you're at the lower part of the rim where you're only maybe 50, 60 feet above the river. You're not up at the top. And you're looking at the vastness and looking up at the other side and how wonderful it is and how beautiful it is. And then all of a sudden you have a flash flood come through, but you weren't looking upriver. And the next thing you know, you're flooded down the river and you're dead, because you weren't paying attention, because you weren't seeing what was going on. You weren't seeing what was developing because you were too engrossed at the looking part. Well, you need both. You need to be able to not only look at everything. In other words, let's go bring it back to trading for a second. That means you got to be looking at your daily. You got to be looking at your hourly. And, I know you like to look at the H4. I don't, but that's okay. You got to be looking at the M30. I love looking at the M30. You got me into that habit not too long ago because, I had observed something and then you started looking at it closely and then you observed something and now, it's pretty obvious that the M30 likes to cover the previous M30 a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times it likes to go and do that. So you need to be having those big picture moments. In other words, looking out on the vast horizon of everything that's going on, and then you need to be seeing the trades. In other words, the seeing part is what, a lot of traders like to call their method, the way, what gets them into the trade. And the two of them, in my opinion, have to be in conjunction with each other. And and probably a safer way to trade is that, if what you look is different from what you see, maybe that's something that you just sit on your hands for and wait for the two of them to come into the same direction.
Well,
Perfect
yesterday,
example of today.
then later, you said you found something and you would and you read it to me about the definitions too.
Yeah, I think I have that on my computer, so let me go and see that.
Well,
Let's see if I can find that.
yeah, well, see, one of the things, in the looking for and seeing, like you said about the M30, where you were onto it, and then you made me look at it, and then, of course, I had to write an indicator to check out the frequency distribution, and we found out that for some reason the M30 covers the previous candle's body, the most frequent. So what do we mean by that? So the high and low of the current candle, the high is above the top of the previous candle body, and the low is below the bottom of the previous candle body here. So you can see this candle covered, this candle covered, this candle covered, this candle almost covered, this candle covered, this candle didn't cover. So just seeing how often that happens, and it doesn't have to cover to make a profit. It just gives you a clue. If it starts going in that direction, look for it to actually sometimes cover. And if not, if it's moved, far enough and it starts coming back the other way, you can still exit the trade with a profit.
Right, exactly. And it gives you a little bit of an edge, and it doesn't guarantee you're going to make money, but what it does do is it gives you a little bit more of an edge. And this is a game of edges. Every little piece helps you a little bit.
And it just
And
and speaking of edges, the price just came out of the launch pad. It went down to 47, and it just hit
right.
64. I mean, that's 17 pips.
Yep, exactly. And one of the differences between looking and seeing again is, looking, you see the whole vastness of it all, and seeing it is not just noticing that it's happening, but it's actually understanding what's happening by actually going and seeing every little nuance that's going on, and it gives you the ability to jump into that trade or jump out of that trade. And because your seeing has to happen. We talked a lot about, seeing in terms of, getting into the trade. Well, it also has to help you with getting out of the trade too. And I think I mentioned this to you this morning where I talked about, I had gotten into a little bit of trouble this morning. My trading just wasn't very, very good. I'm fine for the day. In fact, I'm more than what I need to make for the day. But in the beginning of the day, what I was doing was I was looking and I was seeing, I was doing all of that and everything was going great and went into trades. But what I wasn't seeing after that was, I was stacking on. So what was happening is I would get into a trade was going in my direction, have a nice profit. Okay, now I got two options. I can do one or two things. I can either, get out of the trade and take that nice little profit, or what I can do is stack on.
Or just ride it. That's your third option.
Well, that's what I mean by
Yeah.
or just ride it.
Yeah.
And so what I had done was I was made the decision. Hey, I'm going to go stack onto this trade because it's a nice little trade, and here we go. We'll go and stack on. And guess what? It went in my direction some more. So now I've got a really nice little profit there. And what I did at that point, and this was the mistake, was that, I said it to you this way, the tide changed, and I didn't notice that the tide had changed. In other words, the reasons for being in the trade were no longer there. They had gone away. And instead of just getting out with a nice handsome profit, I turned it into a pretty nice loss, and very, very quickly, within probably less than a minute or two. And that's what can happen, and that's the importance of seeing. You can't, you got to understand what's in front of you as you're watching it, paying attention to the detail and reacting to that detail, and making that decision. Now, I'm sitting here day trading or, scalping, whatever you want to call it. So, it happens pretty quickly. Now, if I was a different type of trader where I was, trying to go and do swing trading or something like that, those differences wouldn't have made a hill of beans to me. I just would, wouldn't have made any difference. But I also would have had a lot size that was significantly lower, and it would have come back and it would have rewarded me for that. But that wasn't the type of trading that I was doing, and nor the type of trading that's in my playbook. It's not part of my playbook, and I made the huge mistake of, and call it, and this plays into so many other things. It plays into emotion. It plays into, what you call, brain management. All those things all of a sudden started to kick in because I went from making nice money to now I'm in trouble, and now how do I get out of this? Well, the way I finally decided to get out of it was take the loss and work your way out, and which is what I did, and that is part of my exit playbook is just to go and do that. And, but the thing is, there was no reason to ever be in that mess in the first place. I was in that mess because I wasn't paying attention to the charts. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that, that the tide was now going out instead of coming in. In other words, what happened was I had taken a couple of shorts, and what happened was it was now going to go and retract and go back up, and I didn't pay attention. Talking about going up, did you see what it just did out of your launch pad of 40?
Right.
Now 40 pips from there.
Yep. Yeah, it went from, well, we went up 30 from 47 to 81, almost 82. But yeah, in
Yeah.
fact, if you look at this trade, here you go looking and seeing. We say look to the left. Well, if you look to the left, you can see price reversed on this candle here. I don't know. I guess that was maybe the last hour. And for some strange reason, it's not showing me the, I'll do it this way. It reversed from about 47, 46.8 it looks like. And so you look left and you see it reversed and it ran all the way up to 80. Well, then if you come here, you can see it tried to make a new low, or it actually did make a new, it broke through that H1 low and reversed. And it did it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then each time it went from 44, 45 to over 50 and then back down. And then finally, in this previous M5 candle, it came down to 47. And once again, if you look left, is that same point, and then it took off. So in less than 10 minutes, you just had the opportunity to pick up 30 plus pips.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's looking at the chart, it looks so easy, doesn't it? But it's not easy. I'm not going to go and sugarcoat things. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's there. It's there for you to take, but you need to go and look, and you need to see it, and seeing part is understanding what's going on at that moment in time, and then taking advantage of it.
Well, I'm going to counter that. I'm going to say it is easy, and here's the reason why I'm going to say it's easy. And what I mean is that you put the trade on, and then you put your stop loss, and then you can decide if you want to just ride it or if you want to put a TP and walk away. And so in this particular case, I would say it's easy because, okay, it failed to break it, and it failed to break it on the 4th and the 5th time. And usually, if it's going to break it, it's going to break it on the 3rd or 4th time. So on that 5th time, you just go ahead and take the trade, and see what happens. I mean, you could have popped out for maybe just a handful of pips, maybe just 4 or 5 pips. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to see if this thing will go up like it did the last time. Because there might be orders up there just like the last time. And once again, just you put the trade on. That's easy. You set your stop loss. That's easy. Now, what's hard is watching it and going through the emotional roller coaster where you're up 2, you're down 1, you're up 3, you're down 4, That's what's difficult. And so, and you could have made this decision way ahead of time saying, okay, if it comes down to this level, I'm going to X. I'm either going to buy or I'm going to sell. You could, and then depending on what happens next, it's either going to hit the stop loss or I'm going to be taking profit, either with a hard profit set, or I'm just going to look at it and go, okay, that's enough, I'm out.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that too is that you had a level that was a pretty obvious level to do that at, and so to make it even easier, you set a pending there, so you don't even have to go and be watching it. You just let the computer go and do it for you.
Exactly.
Or you let the market do it for you because you got a pending sitting out there. The only thing I would suggest is if you're going to do that, make sure that you have an alert out there too, because at least for me anyway, what happens is if I put a pending out there a lot of times, oh shoot, look at me, I'm in a trade and I didn't even know I was in a trade, and then you're in trouble, right?
Yeah, and you know what? We're almost in. The recorder messed up, so I don't know if you got it or not, but the fastest 15 minutes in trading is almost over. So I hope you boys and girls and non-binary traders picked up a tip or two from Walmal and myself here. You can see here, once again, if you look to the left, you see when price reached this level, there was a big push down, and it kind of repeated itself. So just remember, and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And this is the Rumpled One, over and out.